Hey guys, I'm Shanna with The Best Groceries. In this video, I'm going to show you how I'm doing a 5-batch lettuce rotation that's producing 1 head of lettuce per day. Now, I started off my lettuce rotation with the 4-batch rotation suggested by Rise that I've made a previous video about. And then, over this past summer, I decided I would rather have more lettuce, so I've added another batch to my rotation, and that's what I'm going to tell you about now. So if you'd like to have a rotation of lettuce, you can choose between either the 4-batch rotation or the 5-batch rotation, depending on how much you'd like to have. I'm not going to talk about the 4-batch rotation in this video since I already have another video, and I don't want to make it confusing by comparing the two to each other. What you'll need in order to do the 5-batch lettuce rotation is 2 full short levels of your garden, 2 nurseries, 2 8-hole tray covers, and 4 4-hole tray covers. And you're going to be using all of those things all of the time. So you need to decide that you want to dedicate that much space to lettuce. And if so, this video is for you. So I'm growing 5 different batches of lettuce, and there are 8 plants in each batch. So I'm going to refer to them as batch 1 to 5, batch 1 being the youngest, batch 5 being the oldest. All right. So batch 1 is 8 plants in 2 nurseries. Then we've got batches 2 and 3 are 8 plants in each batch is in an 8-hole tray. So in this case, batch 2 is here, they're younger, and batch 3 is here, they're older. Then we have batches 4 and 5, those are the oldest plants. Second oldest is batch 4 here in 2 4-hole trays, and batch 5 is the oldest here in 2 other 4-hole trays. I'm sure you've noticed that I have 2 different types of lettuce growing. Within each batch you have 8 plants, so you can mix and match up to 8 different types of lettuce in each batch. At this time I have 4 red romaine and 4 Paris Island Cos in each batch. In order to figure out the timing for this, we need to look at how long it takes a head of lettuce to grow from starting as a seed to the day it's ready to harvest. Now, in my case, I'm finding that's about 40 days. So if you want to start with that number too, go ahead. Or if you already know how long yours takes, then start with that number. So we have 5 batches. We're going to take our number, 40 days, divide it by 5, and we've got 8 days. So what that means is we're going to have to rotate our lettuce every 8 days. Now I'll show you the steps for rotating the lettuce. So the first step is to harvest your oldest lettuce. Right here, my batch 5. So I take a bread knife, I cut the whole head of lettuce down. If there's any leaves that I don't want, they don't look nice, I put them directly into the compost, and the rest goes in my salad spinner. My lettuce is all harvested now. The next step is to take the net cups out of the garden. I'm going to put the pods and the rest of the plant into the compost, and I'm going to take the net cups and put them into a bin so I can wash them before I reuse them. So all my oldest plants are out of the garden now, and before I go and move my next plants, I want to just give my trays a quick wipe down and scrub off any little mineral buildup. Totally optional, but it helps me keep the trays clean, so I like to do it when there's no plants in the way and I have the opportunity. Make sure to check under your tray lids for any broken off pieces of roots that need to be removed. So the next step is going to be moving my oldest lettuce that's in the 8-hole tray, so not the oldest in the 8-hole tray, so that's batch number 3, from the 8-hole tray into the 2 4-hole trays I just emptied. Now, before I move it, what I like to do, because these are staying in this 8-hole tray a little bit longer, you can see some of the roots are going down the drain. Some of the roots are attached together on the plants, and I find that if you just pull them apart, sometimes it rips completely off one plant instead of breaking in the middle. So I like to take my clippers and try and tease apart or cut the roots so that I'm not ripping all of the roots off any of one plant. All right. There we go, we're all separated and ready to move. All right, so now that my 8-hole tray is empty, my next step is to move my plants from the nursery into the 8-hole tray. So that's the end of what needs to be done in my garden. My next step is to wash my 2 nurseries and my net cups and start new lettuce seeds in those 2 nurseries. I didn't touch the plants on the top level at all this time. I had my oldest plants in the 8-hole tray on this level and my oldest plants in the 2 4-hole trays here as well. So each batch is going to start in the nursery for 8 days. Then it's going to move to an 8-hole tray for 16 days. So it will stay there for 2 rotations, and then it will move to 2 4-hole trays and it will stay there for 2 rotations. So each plant is only going to move twice. It's going to move once from the nursery to the 8-hole tray, and then it's going to move a second time from the 8-hole tray to the 2 4-hole trays. So you're only moving 1 level of plant each time you rotate. So I empty the 2 4-hole trays, move to the 8-hole tray to the 2 4-hole trays, and then move the nurseries to the 8-hole tray and didn't touch this level. The next time I rotate, 8 days from now, I'll be doing the exact same thing, but with this level instead and not touching this level at all. So once you get the hang of it, this is a pretty quick process. This rotation will only take about 10 to 15 minutes every time you do it. So 10 to 15 minutes every 8 days or so. That's not really bad at all. If you'd like to be harvesting a good amount of lettuce on a regular basis, I would definitely recommend doing either this 5-batch lettuce rotation or the other 4-batch lettuce rotation. They both work fantastic. If you found this video interesting and useful, please give it a like and consider subscribing to my channel.